Ahoy, my friends and family. My name's Trey, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about virtue signals of the dark and the light. There are no lies in the future ruling over us all. Sharp as a knife, fox cut a hole in the fall. Still waiting for you to wake the flunk up. Past the ascension, and you'll never have to live in hell when you're fully ital. Virtue signals of the dark and the light. Ever notice the fact that when the Illuminati, institutionally racist, institutions that are racist, or the scientism death cult, whichever ideation of the modern version of the ancient brotherhood of the snakes you look at, has whichever iteration of the dark side you look at, right? When they created or backed a rescue or treatment plan, we always get what is called a virtue signal, that you are being heroically saved by the dark side, and these overt clues are harm. Okay, thereby breaking the Hippocratic oath that, ironically, their whole system, they forced the medical students to state their obedience to this idea that they'll do no harm, right? But when you see, when the MM or Big Farm saves you, they must do harm. And this is how you know that Lucifer or the dark side or someone who is or a controller being who is saving you. And the place where I came up with the idea for this concept for this video was years before I started making videos. I noticed, wow, the EMTs really have to make it really loud, and if I didn't put my fingers in my ears, it would cause me more hearing damage than the worst alcoholic reggae DJ that I jam with sometimes, usually every week, if I didn't stuff napkin in my ears during my performance with them. So how many people have had hearing damage from EMTs? That's the source of this concept for this video. I thought, why? A long time ago, maybe a decade or two ago, I thought, why must they cause hearing damage other than the obvious excuse they're going to come up with, because people are zombies, they're looking down at their microwave cell phones, they cannot see or pay attention, or they're wearing headphones, listening to music they can't hear, so they have to turn it up so high that it's louder than their headphones, right? That's the excuse they're going to tell you, right? But what's the real reason? Because, like Gargamel in the cartoon The Smurfs I saw when I was a little boy, no one is 100% evil, and very few have ever been 100% good even. And Gargamel always gave a clue, that the divine being in him that was able to become so powerfully evil, the part of it that was divine, always gave a clue. And the last couple years has been no different. We had Event 201. As I've said before, the dark side believes that by announcing their plans, announcing their destructive or coercive, controlling agenda to take it all as altruistic, i.e. Event 201. They believe that they can avert negative karma or force the negative karma onto others. Again, this is, as you see in the image on my my YouTube channel page, this is the using of the technology of the hexagram and Saturn, the powerful cube tech that we see both at work behind and fighting in a bloody battle that's been going on since the beginning of Israel between the Palestinian the Israelis and the Islam followers, and they both are certain sects of Jews, and the Kabbalah are both worshiping the same gods, the same cube technology, the black cube. Okay, and so that we notice when anything that comes to save us has to cause especially serious harm or damage, it is a virtue signal that the dark ones are coming to save you. And, it's a virtue signal. Here I am, loser fur. Thank you, Brian, for that idea. Brian from Disclosure Now. Thank you, loser fur, to rescue you. Here I am, loser fur, to rescue you, and I must cause damage every time. Because again, just like Gargamel, maybe another 800 or 1,000 years, loser fur will become so pure that he will be able to hypnotize groups of people into doing evil to themselves and others again, because he became more pure. And eventually, again, everything has to go to the divine eventually, but, as I've said, we wouldn't learn nothing if we didn't ever leave it, or if we didn't have full free will. So they made me do my own PCR test when I went to the ER, and even though I was on, shot up with a whole lot of morphine, I didn't feel any pain. If I'd have known how much pain I was in, I wouldn't have said what I said. But the little young Oriental nurse said, "Here, now I'm going to do a PCR test on you." I said, "No, I'm going to rip all these needles out of here if you." So, well, you can do it to yourself. You don't even have to put it in your nose. I just put it right here. So that means there's a clone of me somewhere. So the fact that there's probably a clone of me somewhere, and that the Russians are making money off my healing videos and I'm not, those are two reasons why I'm not going to, that I have to keep doing this volunteer work here until I become a professional. Whether or not I become a professional or not, it's just part of my blueprint, as I said. So I did my own PCR test after they gave me an emergency ride all the way over the mountain to San Jose, because supposedly the Dominican was full of people that had COVID, and the last time I had been to the doctor probably was an ER trip, because I was trying to sleep on this rubber yoga mat behind the elementary school before they put a fence around it, because I missed the bus home about 12 years before that. And these Aryan gangsters, they threw a metal trash can at my head, and I had to get 10 staples put in. At 2 in the morning, the Dominican surgeon with an accent told me I had to leave. And I had a concussion. It was 2 in the morning, so I slept underneath the church across the street, and the person working there, I told him what happened. He said, "Go back to sleep," even though it was Sunday morning. I wasn't like in the entrance to the church or anything. It was like the side room or something, or the daycare room. Anyway, so they took me all the way over the mountain to San Jose, and after 3 days of Rockefeller choosing my medicines, because J.D. Rockefeller and his handlers invented the allopathic system, and so having those beings, choose my medicines, quote unquote, and so-called food, I was completely constipated for the first time in years. I never get constipation. Usually I'm very regular, especially with, as I say, benign intestinal cancers or weak spots in there. I can't afford to fool around with it, so I stay regular, and it's the first time I was constipated, and I can't remember when, since I was in my teens probably. So F.O.I.A. whips Lucifer, but only when you have self-respect. Of course, my friend brought me some raw milk and some kombucha, and I was able to make a movement for the first time in 3 days, and I was so relieved. And when you see pharmaceutical commercials ending in due to the F.O.I.A., the Freedom of Information Act, which is really, I would think, a very Sagittarius, it's the U.S.A. and California having Sagittarius rising. It's the freedom rising within our culture, within the blueprint of this, the constitutional republic of the United States of America. So due to the Freedom of Information Act, they have to tell you the major ways that the toxic, usually often petroleum-based, amongst other things, drugs that the big farm creates harm you. Why would anyone put these substances in their bodies after you see these commercials to the end and they tell you all the different ways it might kill you or might cause you harm? Why would MDs prescribe these things and give them to people if they watch these commercials and they're told the harm it might cause? There's a lot of money involved. Why would anybody put these things in their bodies if they read the ingredients? Why was F.O.I.A. paid $450,000 a year to do things like GOF research, to fund GOF research with American tax dollars? Far more of an annual salary than the president. Why do second graders have to be taught about gender ideology? Why was the adverse effects sheet, the information sheet of adverse effects, usually available for all of the officially medical interventions or drugs or technologies, left completely empty? On the big international needle experiment. Was it because they had to rush it out and they didn't get a chance to test it? They did a few tests. Why didn't they put the results of those? Why were so many bribed, fired, and killed around official emergency policies during the scam, slim, ick? Scam, slim, ick. You see, since the Brotherhood of the Snakes in Atlantis, our magnificently mind-controlling and murderous vampire junior gods have done a truly amazing job at rotting out societies through infiltration, especially with the Khazarian mafia. I mean, if evil could be genius and rot out the world in a genius way, then they really achieved that goal. And in doing so, forcing trauma bonding with the biggest narcissist predators of all, the ones who invented the archetype, are on nearly all humans, unless they've done even more magnificent and fantastic in their job of breaking the mind control and getting aware. We have had millenniums, and especially the last 16 or so centuries, of Stockholm syndrome with our fake junior gods, and who are real mad scientists, E.T. tinkerers, who we may be, as Cliff High claims, we may be about to meet in real, so-called real time, who consider us all farm animals or slaves or child sex slaves. And now the problem they have is we are entering the age of light, where, darkness does not get to rule in the age of light. We are entering the age of light, transparency, and clarity. Automized, selfish, narcissistic personality disordered epidemics, gender pronouns, and box slavery are giving way to communities and hierogamic unions or divine couplings, or returning to the Trinity wave of the natural pattern of divine humanity from the base 10 vampiric Vesca Pisces closed loop code of the age of Pisces, where, again, just like the Motown lyrics, or a vampiric narcissistic predator, somebody with horrible NPD, a narcissistic or sociopathic narcissistic psychopath who thinks they have the right to steal all the energy, or that woman or that man is giving them all their energy, or God the Father, junior vampire God, who gets to steal all of his energy from us. No, we are in a balanced relationship with the Trinity wave, with a divine creator, Christ Sophia, and if we're in a sexual union, our mate. Okay, so it's a base 3, from going from a vampiric closed loop entropic system. It's an expansive system. Your sexual partner or you, going from your sexual partner or you are the only source of energy. Like I say, in the Lord of the Rings is a really a perfect analogy for the dark side of marriage. When you become the golem, you become jealous or hidden or invisible because you're in this closed, finite loop of energy, to the base 3 true reality of hierogamic union relationships, you, me, and the divine creator, the true Trinity, which is a powerhouse of energy that can never be taken over by the dark forces. The overtly bullshit ways of the sick, inverted, satanic cults that think they run the world are slowly, gradually being exposed. Of course, they want it to be extra slow, Chinese drip style, Chinese water torture drip style exposure, disclosure, because so that they can prepare and control it. Slowly, due to censorship, it will also, again, due to the laws in the U.S.A. of freedom of information, it will occur because we are entering the age of truth. As I told the visiting head psychiatrist around Anderson, the South Carolina Department of Mental Health over 25 years ago, there are no side effects, only direct effects. Every thought is a thing. Every thought, every intention and action is a thing. Every single intention behind every drug, whether it was just to make money or to harm others or to subtly dumb them down or whatever, to get them addicted, every single thought, every single intention, every single action is a thing. And if we don't know that, we'll be subject to the terror of those acts and those things. An act, and they're all acts, and every motive is connected to the act. Again, welcome to spiritual kindergarten or first grade, folks. You need it. Some of you need it. You can't get away with any crimes. You can't get away with nothing, Jordan Maxwell said. You can't get away with any crimes in the real part of Saturn. He was a Capricorn, exposing the dark side. And he devoted his whole life to doing a great job of that and their pirate word tricks. And for that, he was in total poverty. He lived in his friend's house as someone bought him a vehicle. And the virtue signals of the fallen control system are always going to be flashing red lights. In this case, the idea for this video came from the hearing damage that comes along with that in so-called real time or timeless now. The virtue signals of the fallen ones are always going to come with flashing red lights of potentially deep harm every time they save you. Often real flashing red lights. And in my near-death experience was they were actually saving my life, maybe causing other people hearing damage. Look at what has happened with FEMA corruption. Look at the FEMA response to what happened in Lahaina recently, or the FEMA response to the Katrina hurricane in New Orleans. all FEMA response. Look at war. Look at war narratives. Look at the cause and response and result of war narratives. Sudden adult deaths. Or look at the big cancer profit industry. It is all very openly violent, or very openly psychically violent, controlling, kill 'em and bill 'em ideology, or Luciferic, junior god, control, Kali Yuga, anything goes, there are no rules, dystopic, nihilist, very openly psychically violent, killing and harmful, most likely or probably when the system saves you. Why must it be like that? There's too many people on the planet. Don't you know they're helping us to thin out the herd? That's the way they look at it. That's the way the masters of warfare, the masters of... Did you know what that so-called hospital accidents or medical accidents are the third leading cause of death in the U.S.A.? Why must it be like that? Are loosh and depopulation two of the biggest priorities that circumvent most attempts to reform, improve, or clear out these systems? What do you think? Don't put it on YouTube. My guess is it probably is. The invisible handlers of the system demand that the signatures of harm must remain. Some things have improved. I can buy a CBD soda in this, unfortunately it's only in the state of California, but this chain called Go Grocery Outlet for $1.99 almost any time. It's almost always there. $1.99 a can, 25 milligrams of CBD. That's an improvement. We've had some of the evolutions in this planet. I can go buy an eighth of really good Humboldt organic sun-grown cannabis flower down here at the store a mile down the road for $8 out the door. Some things have really improved on this planet. I can buy raw milk in many dozens or almost, I'm not sure how many of the states, a good chunk of them in the store. But some things never change. And you'll note that the more the controller groups, the secret societies, the 1% criminal robber baron families have a hand, or their CEOs, or the more that they stick to the narrative. Even when I went to Earth Fair a few months ago, and I tried to buy some nattokinase, and the girl had the odd. I don't know if she was trying to be a narcissist freak and upset me and get some supply, or be a psychopath. But she said, "Oh, our corporate management decided not to keep that product." And I said, "Lady, I had I got long COVID last year, and I was having pain in my heart. I had a myocarditis or a blood clot in my heart last summer." And taking nattokinase, which I purchased here, saved my life. So you're telling me that this enzyme that saves lives, your corporate, it was all I could do to shop there again, but Charleston, only has a few health food stores, and, I had to just, again, I learned from studying the Mahayana for a few years that forgiveness is a key, and I've come into a lot of situations where people are so mind-controlled or brainwashed that I might have nowhere to shop. I might have no friends if I never forgave people for being idiots or obeying out of fear or corporate policy. So, but you have to play each battle. You have to choose your battles in that. But on the other hand, if it's something really bad, like that this corporation or this industry has done a lot of harm, I say, unless you really need it for an emergency. That is why and how I say we must not do business with the system as much as possible, unless you really have to. Unless it is a true emergency. A situation the dark side also monopolized anyhow, like there's no organic EMT. Anybody out there want to start it? Let me have a chunk of the the stocks for the idea, man. How about that as a deal? Or 1%, 5%, or 1% of the profit? How about 1% of the profit? Every time you are saved by this sick society, observe the consistent harm or degradation, abuse or gaslighting, belittlement, exploitation, or poisoning they cause, man. Like I say, if it's a service that was given to you by the Matrix beast system, it's going to have a side effect, which is probably could be deadly harm even. Or it could just be that it makes you irritated or cause you to have to go without sunlight half the week instead of half of a day out of 1 day a week or whatever it would be in nature. On the other hand, why is the truly virtuous signal you are receiving help from the real divine? What is the truly virtuous signal that you are receiving help from the real divine? The true healing authority, the true authority in real healing, or the original creator, not the dark fallen angels. Well, how about this for an example? And again, I don't have an MD, so I am not a professional. I don't make money in healing. So according to YouTube, the CIA and the government, I have no, I'm not a professional, so this is just my opinion I'm just giving you my experiential knowledge. I've been able to make topical illness temporarily recede or go away temporarily, even chronic deadly things, with consistent a shaft and a sunbath, like the sunshine itself has qualities beside vitamin D and other minerals, healing qualities that can help you to alleviate illness, okay? So I know that that's correct because I experienced it. That's what experiential or empiric knowledge means. The original creator, not the dark fallen angels. They always have to, they have to let you know it's us, it's Lucifer, it's the dark ones, it's dark beings coming to help you. I remember when I got the measles and mumps and rubella. I felt I was 8 years old, and I felt like I think I was more terrified than I had ever felt. And something about it felt really wrong to me, and I don't know. I might have caused some symptoms of autism. That's right. It does not necessarily hurt, maim, cripple, cut off some body parts to save the rest. Experiment on you in a fatal way. Dissolve your entire bank account, etc. For when the real creator comes to help you. The harm is caused to you by you when you create bad karma. When you use your free will to make a decision to harm yourself or someone else. When you break the law, the spiritual law, by doing something to cause harm to yourself or others, then you get physical or mental sickness often when it gets bad. When you create bad karma, the universe will balance it. Because this is the key point here about this, she or it only requires truly necessary suffering. When you go down to Safeway, or when you go to, or especially if you went to Safeway 20 years ago before they took all the hydrogenated oils out of it, when you just buy whatever looked like something you wanted without any knowledge of nutrition or desire to treat your body with respect, what would happen, right? Well, when you think or do things to others or yourself in the similar fashion as someone who doesn't pay attention to their diet, what do you think is going to happen? You're causing suffering to yourself by having no discernment you cause inherent suffering. This is why I don't really like to hang out with normies. This is why I don't really like to hang out with people who aren't ready for my information, because I don't want to look at the inherent suffering it causes all the time. It's sad. It makes me feel sick being around it, to think that people will have to go through. Somebody who's an NPC, for example, will have to go through several more lifetimes, perhaps, of pure suffering because they refuse to wake up at all. It's not pretty. It's ugly. But the Creator only causes you to suffer in response to what you did with your free will to cause suffering to yourself and others. It's a balancer. Cancer comes, it takes some serious trauma along with the mutations of the diet and the atmosphere and the nano, or whatever, the artificial stuff in general. It takes, my experience is, it takes a huge trauma along with that artificial crap to cause it. So Mother Nature, or the divine Christ Sophia, never ever causes any of this shit. And she just gives you back what you put out, to let you know you can't. Again, the real Saturn, before they put technology in Saturn, is just the law of karma, and you can't play around with it. And that's ironically, even with the hexagram on the end or inside of it, that's what these powerful, that's what Lucifer's having to look at now. Finally, yes, it is true. There is no learning in heaven, the fluffy good place in the afterlife. When we don't have bodies, and if we're really good, we'll be in this blissed out state. But we cannot expand without having some kind of pain, or the pain of discipline, a pain of getting serious. Yet, there is no learning in heaven, yet no love in hell. Or in the psychopaths who are trying to pull it all in there, the black hole of Abaddon. No love at all. The virtue signal that you are receiving help from the divine is inherently going to be the opposite. It will not harm you. It's not going to put all this horribly toxic shit, filth in your body and say, I'm a divine being. Do as I say. You are my slave. You have to work 7 days a week, 3 jobs, or go be my farm animal. That's what your free will is for, is to be my farm animal. Only Lucifer, only the Hellites could be so insane as to say, you have free will, now you're my farm animal. The real divine is the opposite. It or she or he or it will not harm you, damage your soul or body, cripple you, and take all of your resources in doing so. It will never coerce or mandate. It will always ask permission. You always have to ask her or it for help. If you want help from the Creator, you must ask. They never force their will. It will always ask permission. No pain, no gain. I always thought, well, even though that's kind of a Luciferic or dark side slogan, while this is a dark pirate saying, the truth is, the necessary pain and suffering is just learning to live in discipline. Like when I learned all the different songs to be able to make dinner money with my one-man band, or when I learned psychological or spiritual skills and tricks, so-called biohacks and techniques to heal my body and mind and spirit, when I learn them, then I can teach them, when I really learn them. So that's the pain that's necessary, the discernment, the shadow work, the learning. So this is the suffering that is necessary, but not the endless suffering of having all your memories wiped in between lives, coming back to be a slave again and again and again forever. That's the scam of the Matrix, okay? The necessary pain and suffering is just learning to live in discipline. As a disciple, that's where the word comes from. Being necessarily strict on yourself. If you ever want to achieve anything in this life, if you just do what you want all the time, if you're a wage slave and you just think about the rent all the time, and you never go to college, or you never hone in a skill, or you never learn a trade, or never learn how to be an artisan or an artist or whatever your dream is, you never learn how to do it, and you don't work a 9 to 5 in a place that you love, you're a fucking idiot when it comes to your soul, because you're not going to have any respect for your soul, okay? So to have discipline, you have to be a disciple of the higher self, or learn what your blueprint is. Learn from some Buddhist, some shamans, or some Gnostic Christians, or whoever that has respect and is mostly or about at least 96% harmless. Learn a skill, or learn a meditation style, learn an art form to get closer. That way, when you become a disciple and you learn discipline and being necessarily strict on yourself, learning the skill of delayed gratification and the extreme discernment that may be required to also do your shadow work is the key, as I said many times. Pain is necessary in the beginning, especially. But once you get the acquired taste, once you entrain yourself with something besides the damn microwave, cell phone, social media that's really alienating you, then you, like I said, as Miles Davis said, you learn that discipline is freedom. And surely on occasion, pain is going to be a part of all lives, but not this Sisyphus, endless memory wipe, loose drip, big human farm that demands huge payments of permanent suffering, lifetime after lifetime. And again, it takes shit tons of discernment and discipline to get past that, because the dark side is good at influencing. Okay? No, that is not what the enlightened being is going to do. Just say no to the dark human farmers. Say yes to the real divinity, and learn to vet your sources. Learn to vet the sources of your thoughts. Learn to vet the sources of your actions. Learn to vet the sources of your YouTube videos, your Rumble videos, your Odyssey videos, or whatever it is you believe or be truth, by seeing if it causes harm. Is that thought or that belief causing you harm? Well, it might be fucking idiotic in the long-range view. God truly is love and gave us free will, which allowed both choice and inversions to an entrance. It allowed all these horrible, dark technologies and the beautiful inventions and art humans have created, and all the amazing plant inventions to be invented. So, knowing that in a free will universe, everything is allowed, but everything that you do that's wrong or evil or harms yourself or another person or even their spirit is against moral cosmic law. So choose peace, choose self-respect, choose the real one, Christ Sophia. And if you enjoyed this, if you haven't already, as they all say, click subscribe, hit the bell for more videos like this. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought. If you know how to self-censor on YouTube, or go over to Rumble or Odyssey and just let your tongue go loose. Except don't say anything negative about Trump on Rumble. And you know what, folks? If you have a courage to, even when you have to put on extra layers because the dark ones have to terrify us more, or use the weather weaponry and more days out of the week, since they couldn't force us all to be humans 2.0 and to force CBDC as quickly as they wanted. Even in the fake-ass cold day like this. Create a great one, my family. Loving you.